Hey guys, I'm David Geisler, and this week we're talking about Bono's apology for giving you free stuff, HBO doing their best Netflix impression, an autonomous projector on wheels, super efficient batteries, and Lockheed's optimistic plan for fusion energy. It's time to get upset for receiving free things, because this is the Technophiles Newscast. Hey, remember when you had to delete a whole bunch of stuff off your phone just so you could update to iOS 8? And just as you had almost cleared off the whopping 5 gigabytes required for the install, mostly by deleting all the photos of your child's birth, every app you ever cared about, and every song you'd ever downloaded, do you remember how when you were almost there and so excited to push that update button, an entire album of music downloaded itself onto your phone's hard drive? Well, U2 frontman and living legend Bono remembers. Well, last week in a video interview, Bono did actually apologize for the whole thing. He ended up blaming it on, and I quote, "a megalomania, a touch of generosity, and a dash of self-promotion." Hey Tim, you know, the boys in the band and I were talking and we don't think we're relevant anymore. We don't know what to do. Oh, I hear you, Bono. We at Apple have something that we're really excited about and we think we've got a great plan for you. A great plan, huh? That sounds good. You know, I'm all about caring and sharing. If we start sharing, they'll start caring.
Jessica, I went into my iTunes and there's like old people in it.
You know, I'm kind of joking here, but there's nothing like forced relevancy. I mean, it's been 10 years since U2 had their iconic red and black iPod. And frankly, there's probably a lot of people that use iPhones these days that aren't even very familiar with them. Maybe that was the whole idea. It is kind of weird how some people got really mad about getting free stuff, and I don't really understand that. I think it was kind of maybe just awkward time with the whole iOS 8 thing, but I do appreciate the apology from Bono, and I appreciate Apple giving us the tool that allows us to remove the gift, if we want. A little while ago, Sean actually did a story here on the newscast about HBO considering the idea of having a streaming service not connected to a cable provider. Well, we now know that HBO will definitely be releasing a streaming service. They haven't released what the pricing will be yet, but even if it's something ludicrous like $30 a month, HBO, Netflix, and Hulu all together would still be cheaper than normal cable. I find this very interesting because just a few years ago, a lot of analysts were saying that Netflix was kind of the new HBO. I think that's a pretty astute examination, and to be honest, it's kind of funny now that HBO is gonna start acting like Netflix. Oh, and one more thing actually, it's important to note that not only does this help HBO be stronger in a streaming space, but it technically helps them be stronger in the cable space because they can't really be bullied by the cable companies anymore. They can say, fine dude, I'm going to the internet. Next up, we've got a clever little robot called the Keecker. Now, I have to admit, I have kind of mixed emotions about what's happening with this Keecker, but I think they're onto something. Keecker can kind of be a mobile media center. It has a projector on it, speakers, microphone, camera, all the regular stuff you would see with a big setup. The only difference is it can move around your house. Another interesting fact about the robot is that when you first kind of unleash it into your home, it'll drive around and create a 3D map of your living space. You know, so I guess I have to assume that the Keecker is going to be aimed at a very niche market. You know, the kind of market that has absolutely nothing on their walls, absolutely nothing in front of their walls for 4 or 5 feet, pretty much no carpet in their apartment, and love to live in the dark, and frankly have a spare $3,000 to $4,000 to burn. I don't mean to give the Keecker a hard time, but I'm just not really sure how well this is going to work in most homes. I tell you what, I think it'd work great in a museum. Imagine these little things driving around a museum, giving people tours, putting audio-visual up on walls. Makes sense to me. Last week in episode 218 of the Technophiles podcast, we talked about a company using nanotubes to create a space elevator. Well, this week we found another nanotube story, but it's being used in a very different way. Let me tell you about Nanyang Technological University. They are using nanotubes to create super powerful batteries that charge in minutes. Basically what they're doing is they're replacing graphene connections with nanotube connections, and this allows the battery to charge like 70% in 2 minutes. Even some of the best batteries we have right now take 2 hours to fully charge. And another thing, these batteries are good for like 10,000 charges, which is way more than the normal 500 you get with a battery right now. I think it's obvious that this could be a total game changer for cell phones, electric cars, really anything that uses batteries. All right, our last story this week is about the aerospace company Lockheed Martin and how they've developed a breakthrough in fusion technology. They say that they've created a technology that would allow them to make a fusion reactor so small that it could even fit on the bed of a truck. The initial prototype should be strong enough to create 100 megawatts. Just 1 megawatt is enough to take care of up to 1,000 homes. This reactor could eliminate radioactive waste because it's fusion, not fission. Fusion, fission. They expect to have a prototype in a year and a commercially available one in 10. Fusion, fission. Fusion, fission. Fusion, fission. Fusion, fission. Fusion, I'm swimming. I'm doing a breaststroke. Okay guys, that's it for this week's Technophiles Newscast. I hope you learned a little something and enjoyed the show. If you did, click like and subscribe below. Remember that the show was made by these fine people here. Remember that. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook and at our actual website, technophilespodcast.com. I think Sean's coming back next week. I had a great time. We'll see you then. Oh, Tina's first one. What's that? No, I'm so fancy. You already know? That's right, I'm in the fast lane. From Los Angeles to Tokyo.